guys? Welcome back to the Hurricane Podcast. This week's episode is brought to you by Bang Energy Drink. Just kidding, they don't sponsor us, but if I wasn't drinking that, this wouldn't be happening right now. So this week's guest is our very own owner, head coach, the Ginger Avenger himself, and the mastermind behind all of these crazy workouts that we do in this wonderful gym as a whole. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present to you Mr. Cody Spell. All right, guys, tuning in on the Anchor app and or iTunes, welcome to the Hurricane Podcast. Everybody else will be seeing this on YouTube, but we have in the house every day is Cody Spell. He's always
Hola.
Yep. So welcome, Cody, to your office.
My office.
Yeah. We're gonna be talking today about some nutrition, and we can't think of another person that knows nutrition better than the Cody Spell.
At least he's on a pretty even playing field there.
Yeah, I guess. you know, we just can't get her in front of a camera. That won't work. We have to sneak her one day.
Nope.
So we're gonna talk about what do we talk about with nutrition? What are we gonna talk about with this?
We're going to talk about a little bit more mindset than anything.
The mindset.
We're not going to get into crazy detail about nutrition because that's for another time and place, I would say. But
I feel like a lot of people get lost in those details too.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be kind of learn to sleep a little bit from the nutrition details. So maybe just talking about nutrition principles and like maybe the psychology behind CrossFit would help a ton.
Yeah.
I think at least.
It'll change the way you think about food.
Hopefully.
Let's
Maybe build a
hope.
little better relationship with food.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is, people having their relationship. They don't approach it as a relationship. They think of it as just they're getting fussed at, or they know that they should do something and it's too hard. Or
it's like a job almost.
Yeah,
I feel like it's not something that's fun. It's something that you have to do every so often because you have to get ready for an event.
Get ready for that cruise.
Or the doctor said you need to lose X amount of weight, or whatever it may be. That's not always the case. Some people will do it because, they wanted to have a healthier life to play with their kids or be around with their grandkids, whatever it may be. But people look at it as maybe like a temporary thing and not a long-term thing. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's probably one of the biggest things, and as well as either you're all in or all out kind of mentality. It's either like it's chicken and vegetables or it's Pop-Tarts and cereal. I see
a lot of people do that. Like they'll be doing good or something, or say it's like fourth day of the week that they've started their diet or their whatever their new nutrition plan is, and they slip up with like lunch or something, and then they really tear up dinner, and the next breakfast is Pop-Tarts or something like.
Yeah, and it's like you have either a bad day or bad weeks or whatever it may be, or you have for some reason you slip up and have a bad meal. All of a sudden, it's just. You jump off the bandwagon altogether, and it's just it's crazy.
It doesn't have to be 0 or 100.
Yeah, and I feel like that's how most people think of it. Is like it's either one way or the other, and there's no gray area. Mm-hmm. And it's like if your nutrition's already hard to follow as it is, like it's extremely hard, then you're already on the wrong path.
Yeah, if you can't sustain it,
if it's not sustainable, then it's not the right nutrition plan for you. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's. One of the main takeaways is like sustainability is a humongous factor when it comes to nutrition, and you are what you consistently do, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you can't do it consistently over not just like weeks. Like some people look at it like a 6-week or an 8-week thing. So if you can't maintain it past that point, then you're not making the proper nutritional changes for yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think also people think of that's going to happen like immediately because we live in kind of a society where it's like, well, I just want to change everything now. And that's probably a recipe for disaster as well.
Just taking all of a sudden changing everything.
Because it's easy, like when it comes to working out, for instance, it's easy because, it's 1 hour out of your day. And if you come 3 or 4 times out of a week, it's only 3 or 4 hours out of your week. Mm-hmm. And that's not the case with nutrition. Like
nutrition's all day.
Nutrition's all day, all the time. And it's a big social factor as well, right?
Yeah.
And
more than working out, I would say.
Yeah. And so, when it comes to like sustainability, a lot of times people completely don't think about their social life and like, work and going out with friends and family, and they basically shut themselves out. They want to try to hit a goal sometimes, and that becomes miserable, right? Mm-hmm. Because you don't feel like you can live your life. You're all of a sudden you're now a prisoner to your nutrition.
and that makes it less sustainable too because it sucks.
Yeah.
You already can't eat cookies,
Yeah.
which sucks, and now you can't go eat cookies with friends.
Yeah.
So that sucks double.
Can't do the double dip.
Can't double dip.
Nope.
Yeah.
Can't do that. And so it's not necessarily. First off, the best nutrition plan is the one you can follow along with, regardless of what that is. If it's keto or the caveman diet or whatever it may be. That's all these crazy different things out there. If you can do it and it feels natural to you and you really don't have an issue doing it, then that's the proper nutrition plan for you.
There's nothing like in your way or anything. There's no diet plan that says like you have to get North Atlantic salmon caught at like 32 degrees.
Yeah, and when we were kids, it was like the Atkins diet was like the big thing, and the South Beach diet, and all these things, they all kind of rehash themselves out and come out a few years later.
Atkins was like the heavier fat.
Yeah, and even like back in the day, like fat was
there's no fat. Yeah,
yeah, fat was the enemy. Like if you eat fat, that's the bad thing. Now it's if you eat carbs, now carbs are the enemy. It just kind of trades off every decade or so, where one particular macronutrient becomes the enemy. And I'm sure protein might eventually. When we get older, like in our 40s, protein's gonna be the enemy.
They already got some people I think that think that.
Yeah,
like,
so
what I can see as the common theme with all those fads is that. So there's only 3 macronutrients.
Yes.
And so far, pretty much all of them have been the enemy.
At some point in time, more so as of late, it's been carbohydrates.
I think that vilifying or demonizing a food isn't the answer. It obviously has to be the way that you interact with that food.
Yeah. And so when it comes to like macronutrients, like you have protein, carbs, and your fats, and like they're here for a reason, right? There's a reason why you can find each one of those 3 in nature. It's God given. It's out there for you to eat a natural source.
I think the Lord took extra time with carbohydrates,
and so
he put a little extra goodness with those.
And so to completely eliminate those from your diet altogether, in my opinion, is obviously the wrong way to go about doing it.
Yeah.
And it also depends on what your goals are in life and what your needs are. And also body types and things like that can become factors as well. We're not going to go down too much in that rabbit hole, but if you're which most people are looking just for a general health standpoint. We're speaking to the masses. It's just a general health standpoint, and a healthy nutrition plan is going to be the proper ratios of all 3 of those, right? And so most people obviously don't hit those in the proper ratios, and especially for females, protein is probably very, very low. And I think that has to be of psychological reasons, feeling that protein is going to make them bulky or whatever it may be. And naturally, I don't think females are big meat eaters anyways compared to males.
It takes a lot to, and then it's probably the hardest for your body to digest, isn't it?
Depending on which version and what foods operate with you the best, and they're filling. Protein is filling. It's very hard to eat a bunch of meat at once.
Yeah, like whenever
meat sweats, whatever like that.
Yeah.
It's hard to eat a big consumption of protein. So usually with most people, they don't get enough protein, especially the girls. And so most people usually don't have the issue of like not eliminating protein from their diet. They just don't get enough of it.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to, for instance, like fat,
some
that's
people
kind of
are
the big
doing
fat.
none of that.
Well, and some people like right now, keto is a big thing. So also
or they're doing too much.
Your fat intake is going to be extremely high, and one of those things you're like, well, you burn more fat when you're on keto. Like, yeah, because you eat.
That's the
more
only
fats.
thing you got in you.
You
Yeah.
eat more fat. It's not necessarily
you
body
got carbs and you have a lot of fat.
Yeah, it's not body fat necessarily that you're burning. You're utilizing more fat in general than the fat that you're eating.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also kind of a misconception there. And ultimately, when it comes down to, because I'm sure most of you guys are listening to this, it comes down to like weight loss. Most people want to lose weight, right?
Yeah.
And it comes down to the simplest thing. It's always stood the test of time. It's eating the proper portion controls. That's the most important thing. Because regardless of if I'm eating crappier food, if my portion controls are, or I'm eating less calories, I'm going to lose weight.
Yeah.
Now, there's obviously, for body composition purposes, I need to have a proper food consumption of protein, carbs, and fats. Try to have whole food options most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, 89% rule. And then the biggest thing is what most people don't talk about is consistently doing that day in and day out.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's also a big pitfall is that most people, they don't do it consistently enough. And what I mean by that is a lot of times we'll sit down with somebody like, well, I eat healthy. well, my definition of eating healthy and your definition of eating healthy
Could be different,
yeah, because everybody says they eat
They're
healthy, or
subjective.
they eat good, or
No one's
okay.
no one's gonna ever say like I eat like crap.
It's too subjective of a measure, right? And when it comes to eating healthier, you might eat good on Monday, Tuesday, maybe have a little work thing on Wednesday, and you kind of fall off track a little bit. You get back on Thursday, and then Friday is obviously Friday, so it's time to go party. You got Saturday, Sunday, and so it's like, okay, well, we're only really 3 days out of the week doing it consistently, right? That's not even half. That's not even 50%. It's not a passing rate. And I feel like that's what people don't realize is like it's what you consistently do, and it's day in and day out. It's not 3 days out of the week. It's not 4 days out of the week. It's what I can do 89% of my meals in a whole entire week. If I took a whole week of my caloric consumption from each day, it has to be an overall lower than I need to burn. Or what I'm taking in to lose weight, right?
Yeah, because you could do that, like you said, 3-4 days a week, but then and the other 3 days of the week,
and if
you're smashing all the Mr. Gaddies, then it's not going to matter.
It could be Monday through Thursday, doing good. I'm only taking in 2,000 calories, and that's what I need to lose weight. And then come Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you completely go up to like 4,000 calories. Well, now that average number has shot way up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people don't put that in consideration. They're not being honest with themselves when they say, well, I eat correctly. They think about Monday through Thursday, but they forget about Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and what those 3 days alone can do to you.
Yeah.
And so it's what you consistently do as a whole. When people say, well, I can't really lose weight, it's like, well, you're most likely you're not the anomaly or the 1% who can't lose weight.
Yeah.
It's like that's not the case.
You don't have any kind of
you have to have a full-on honest conversation with yourself and really sit down and analyze your week as a whole and say, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing right?
Because no one, I think they got into the habit of because we all know that eating unhealthy is unhealthy. And you're waiting for somebody to fuss at you for the things that you did, so you'll lie or hide it from yourself even. And you just have to be very real, because the only person you're going to be cheating out is yourself.
Yeah. And we kind of go back to that thing that we're talking about, it's either all in or all out as well. When I kind of say that, some people can kind of take that and kind of run with it. And like, well, I have to be extremely strict and I can't do any cheating or drinking alcohol, whatever it may be. And that's also a recipe for disaster as well. And there's a fine line, if we had it on a scale of 1 to 10 on a difficult reading, it should probably be somewhere around that 6 or 7 range. Where it's not going to be easy. If it was easy, everybody walking around, shredded with six-pack abs, no problem, right? If it was an easy solution. But that's not the case either. But if you're completely miserable, that's not sustainable either.
It's a long, ongoing journey. It's not a destination.
Exactly. So
you don't get healthy. You are healthy.
Yeah, it's a marathon thing. It's like it's a never ending. It's a moving target.
Mm-hmm.
It's a never ending journey to get there. And once again, we kind of go back to that 80-90 rule. It's like, if you could take your day and you made it 80% of your day was good whole food options, and you left yourself a little breathing room in your caloric intake. So what I mean by that is, so we have 2,000 calories. Okay, 1,600 I believe would be 80%, right? So at least we have 400 calories left over to maybe splurge a little bit at night.
Yeah.
Like for instance,
you need 8 Oreos.
Yeah, maybe 2 Oreos.
Oh.
Something like depends on you get a double stuffed or not. Yeah, maybe the thin.
Yeah, the thin ones.
But you got 400 calories, and maybe divulge into something that you like a little bit more. Like could be like a glass of wine, or maybe you got a little sweet tooth, and you want to have 2 or 3 Oreos or something like that. And that way you are still in a way giving yourself that mental break for a second, and you give yourself that little treat at the night. And I think where most people miss that part is they're like, well, I have to eliminate this from my life
forever. Yeah,
forever,
and forever turns into 3 weeks,
exactly.
And then a crash,
and then you end up breaking.
Yeah,
and so it's not eliminating anything from your life. It's not that. It's doing it in the proper portions.
Yeah,
and it's doing it keep coming back to the consistency thing, but I can't stress enough. It's it's what you do consistently is what ultimately provides the results, right?
You gotta keep doing it, and just start.
Yeah,
you don't have to.
Yeah, it's not going to be perfect, and I think it's one of those things as well. Is people think it has to be perfect to start. It's just starting is a big factor. It doesn't
pick it up as a hobby.
Yeah, and obviously you have to go in and see the result every so often to make the adjustments. Make sure your plan's working. But it's what you consistently do, and you have to have those honest conversations, and that's sometimes the toughest part as a coach is. Like me and Lacey talked about this, it's real easy when it comes to in here because you can see somebody physically doing things. Now, when somebody leaves the gym for the other 23 hours a day, we have no idea what you're doing. Yeah. And I think a lot of people feel like sometimes the gym is like the end all be all. And it's like, that's like half the equation, you know. And
If
it's,
that,
it's not
really, like,
and it's nutrition's the foundation.
we know how to fit. Like everybody knows how to. You can go find something that's really hard to do, even if it's like hot Pilates or something. Like everybody can find something for calorie expenditure.
Yeah,
we know how to burn calories.
Yeah,
and there's enough avenues everywhere. There's a damn gym on every corner.
Yeah,
pretty much. But the nutrition is the thing that, like you said, is 23 other hours of the day.
Yeah, that's the toughest part. It's by far the nutrition thing. The training is you can, you know, be uncomfortable for like an hour, you know, and that's okay. Like you can get through that. But when you're, you know, having to deal with being uncomfortable with your nutrition, you know, the other 23 hours of the day, that becomes way more taxing and way more difficult. Right?
I think people, I mean, just like with the gym, which is another conversation altogether, but especially with nutrition, can't be afraid to fail.
Yeah, I mean, it is like, and I think that's also, like you said, a big thing like a failure is, you know, people do something and they don't see the results they want, which I think, and that's something you kind of come back to is also having knowing what's good results with bad results when it comes to the weight loss per se. But yeah, people were like scared to like they do something for like a couple weeks or even just like a couple days for some people, and they don't see that instant gratification. Like, well, I did all this work and I didn't see the results they wanted, and they automatically kind of throw their hands in the air like, well, this doesn't work. You know, my body's just different there, and I just can't do it. You know, my body's just different and won't lose weight. It's like, okay, well, just see that as like what you currently were doing wasn't working. Okay, just make another modification.
There's a million dials to tweak.
It's going to take a while. It's going to, I mean, obviously, you know, we're here to help fast track that, you know, through my own trials and errors and, you know, Lacey's trials and errors and things like that. Like, you know, it's taken us years to kind of get to the area that we want to be and get the information that we feel like is now the proven bread and butter. No pun intended with the food there. The bread and butter of nutrition.
I'm keto.
Keto.
Can't have that.
And of bread, but
I'll take the butter.
But it is the, you know, the non, we're gonna cuss here, but the non-bullshit version. We're not gonna blow smoke up your ass in a sense, like, and give you like, well, you know, if you just eat like this strawberries like twice a day, you'll burn body fat.
Goji berry.
There's so much crap out there. There's so much crap information.
Acai bowl.
I think this comes. Yeah, I think some people have a false narrative as to what is good progress.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, a healthy weight loss is only, depending on, everybody's a little different. Depends on how big we are and how much body fat we have. Is only about 1 pound to 2 pounds a week. You know.
Shoot, if that.
You know.
If that, I think 1 pound a month. That's 12 pounds in a year.
Yeah, depending on how lean we are. You know.
Yeah.
You know, somebody's 300 pounds, maybe about 1 pound a month might be shooting a little low.
Yeah, that's true.
But it just depends on how much you have. Yeah, it depends on the body size and things like that. You know, so I think people have unrealistic expectations. You know, well, they feel like if I diet for 3 or 4 days, I should lose, you know, at least 10 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that's the improper mindset because first off, that's not really technically a healthy weight loss. You're not really losing nothing. But I think people think it's like, oh, it's just body fat. You're not losing just body fat. You're just losing overall mass. And 2, it's not sustainable what you're doing because, I mean, if you're going to keep that up and you're fast tracking 40 pounds in a month, more than likely that's not a healthy weight and you're not going to be able to sustain what you're doing.
Yeah, imagine doing exactly what you're doing for 2 years and are you going to die? If that continues to happen, then it's probably not sustainable.
Yeah. And so, but when it comes to, you know, having the proper mindset when it comes to good progress, you're only looking at, like I said, about 1 pound to 2 pounds a week, you know, which it doesn't seem like a whole lot in retrospect. Like, well, it's only like, you know, 4 to maybe 10 pounds a month. Well, I mean, do that consistently over 3 or 4 months.
And look what you got.
Now, you know, look what we're looking at.
It's got compounding interest on it.
Yeah, exactly. And also, it's not a linear progression. You know, it's not like we're just going to consistently keep on losing that weight. It's more like you're going to lose the weight and drop down a little bit. Losing, it's kind of like all over the place, right? And
like I saw something that was like
it's like a big old squiggly line.
Fat loss is like this, but weight loss.
Yeah, it's going to be all over the place, and you got to play the long game. And I think people just get impatient and they expect everything to come now, and because that's kind of how we live in today's society with the Instagram and Facebook, and it's just your body has not evolutions to that.
It's just
phase
that.
It's not like you just go come and click your fingers and bam, all of a sudden you
can't teleport places.
And also when it comes to like body weight, I think people put so much emphasis on body weight as well. And one of the things I usually tell people is like, okay, well, you have a picture in your mind that you want to look like, right? I'm sure you've maybe seen like somebody that you admire or something like that, their body shape and their figure, and you're like, man, I wish I could look like that. And everybody
got body goals.
Yeah, and so you look at that figure and you're like, okay, well, if I got to this weight, that's the look it's going to give me. And it's like, okay, well, you're not really shooting for a number. You're shooting for a body image, right?
Yeah.
And so I think, and that comes to more.
That's a group of variables.
Yeah, and first off, you shouldn't really be comparing yourself to, because everybody's different, got different structures. But anyways, that's kind of besides the point. Is the body composition, and that's the reason why I kind of use the in-body scanner. It's what your body fat to muscle ratio is, and that's why I really stress to a lot of people is to use this thing, because you can weigh yourself, every week, and you can get discouraged by not losing certain weight. That's like, well, if your body composition improves, that's another tool that you can use.
A lot of people don't want to hop on it because they're like, oh, I'm heavier, I'm the same weight, so they don't want to hop on it until they can get a good result.
Yeah. And
like that, it doesn't matter. You can't change the right now anyway.
Yeah.
So you might as well just like figure out what's going on. You could be staying the same weight, but you gain muscle, you lost fat.
Yeah.
You don't know.
So it's like when people kind of realize like, yeah, it's not necessarily a number I'm looking at. It's a body image that I'm looking after. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, you shouldn't put so much emphasis on your body weight, because that is one tool that you can use, but it's not all the tools. Just like in CrossFit, like we do pull-ups, but we do a lot of other things as well.
You don't
you fit.
You don't base your identity off of pull-ups.
Yeah, like there's other tools that you use and get fit, right? Not just pull-ups itself. And it's the same concept as like, body weight's a tool to kind of see how your nutrition is going good or going bad. And the other things are body composition's a big one, body fat to muscle, your performance, how you feel, how your clothes are fitting, things like that, your blood work. All these different factors are keys to inside of your nutrition, if things are going good or going bad, if you need to make some adjustments or not. And so I think those are some of the biggest things when it comes to like the mentality around nutrition, is that people have unrealistic goals sometimes. They want the fast track to it. Mm-hmm. And, if I want to make a quick buck off somebody, that's something that you could do. I feel like that's,
you can advertise.
I feel like that's how it is nowadays. It's like, me and you both know people, if we were to say, hey, we can sell you this nutrition plan, it's going to lose you 20 pounds in 3 weeks. People are going to jump on that all day, right? But people don't want to hear, it's like, well, I need you to eat proper amounts. I need you to eat whole food options most of the time. And I need you to sleep and train consistently over months and months and months. Mm-hmm. And that's not a popular answer that people want to hear. And that's okay. I don't want to blow smoke up your ass, once again, kind of using that reference, because it's not truthful and it's not what's going to see results. Mm-hmm. Like, I could hand you a template plan and get you to lose 10 pounds, but you're going to put it right back on it, right?
Yeah, that's not going to sustain you.
That's a vicious cycle that people kind of fall into right now, is that up and down weight loss.
Yeah.
It's like, I lose 20 pounds, I put back on 25 pounds. I take off 10 pounds, I put on 20 pounds.
And normally it's like that. It's compounding. Like,
yeah, it's just,
you're not you're like inconsistently, but still getting worse as they go along.
Yeah, it's just like you're setting your body fat levels higher and higher and higher every single time you do that. And it's like you're not building the proper relationship with food. Like,
very unhealthy relationship. Yeah, I think a lot of people have a very unhealthy relationship with food.
And
what look like normally well-adjusted people have an inappropriate relationship with food.
And I think it keeps going back to that. It's the all in or all out mentality.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to have that mentality. Like, yes, you can still have a social life and you can still do the things that you want to do, but you just have to do it in the proper amounts.
Yeah. Just like breathing air or something. Like, it's just something you do.
Yeah.
And you just have to, I think as long as you're aware of it, that's okay. Like, or that's better off than being so obsessive about it. I think awareness is better than obsession.
Yeah, I mean, you have people who are 5-6% body fat who still have bad relationships with food. And it's having nutrition should be geared towards your life, not the other way around. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so, once again, I'll kind of re-reference this. That 80-20 rule is like 80% of your day should be whole food options. Your fruits, nuts and seeds, meats and vegetables. Whole food options that, if you couldn't kill it or grow it, don't eat it, kind of deal. Pretty simple. And then leave yourself a little wiggle room in your caloric intake that you're currently taking in, and partake in things that you want. Whether it be, sweets or alcohol, whatever the form that suits you best for your lifestyle.
Whatever you appreciate.
That way you're not eliminating that. And know that if you have situations that require you to go out to eat with other people and things like that, also you need to make adjustments as well. And that's okay. You're going to have some days that you fall off track, and it's just like, okay, just don't jump on the bandwagon all week now. Just because it's Tuesday and you had a bad Tuesday.
You messed up, like you ate that macaroni stuffed burger.
Yeah.
But now let's
dinner
doesn't have to be that either.
Let's get back on the horse and go back and readjust.
You can eat your normal meal prep dinner after that.
And so, honestly, there's a lot of rabbit holes we can kind of go down into when it comes to nutrition, but I just want to kind of change up just a little bit and talk a little bit more towards the psychological side of things when it comes to nutrition, because I feel like it's some things that people don't talk about. They're all concerned about the facts about things.
And when facts change.
Yeah, and nutrition isn't that complicated. I know that some people can be, depending on how educated we are, it's about nutrition. It's really not that crazy. It's just eating the proper amounts at the proper times and doing it consistently.
It's the ratio thing, because we all have, every single person has little fluctuations in their physiology.
Yep.
And not everybody digests the same thing the right way.
Yep.
But just having that information out in front of you.
Yep.
So you can make more informed decisions with what you eat.
Yeah, maybe like the last thing we kind of throw in here is like me and Lacey were talking about this the other day, is that people get so wrapped up in like the small things.
Oh yeah.
It's like, well, should I eat hot food or cold food? Like, which one's better for weight loss? It's just like, you're worrying about the small stuff. And it's like, you're trying to worry about, well, what's the proper pull sequence of my snatch when I can't even do an air squat, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, do the big stuff first and do that consistently for like a year or two. And then once you can do that consistently and it becomes just like natural, you don't even really think about it. It's like,
then you can start worrying about
clarified then we may start talking about like, well, maybe we should start eating carbohydrates more around this time instead of this time. And things like that. It's just, and those aren't even that important.
Bleached or unbleached flour.
Yeah, and that's like taking it to like a whole other level. Like, that stuff's not even that overall that important.
No.
If you put that like on a pyramid of nutrition, that's like towards the top of the tier. The very base of a nutrition pyramid, first off, is just consistency. And then second off is eating the proper amounts.
Yeah, the
it's
calories
it's as simple as that. It's nothing more than that.
That's what I think is interesting about our approach too. That is all encompassing, because they have like the big companies, like the big junk food companies like Coca-Cola and stuff, saying like calories in, calories out, and you're just not exercising enough. And you have other people saying that like the quality is the key factor. And what we're saying is like they're both right, because they both have some reasonable points.
Yep.
Like your calories have to be in line, and then it has to be good quality, so you're not junking it up.
Yep. So that's for the most part kind of my spiel for that. I mean, hopefully we didn't jump off subject too much and went too scatterbrained there. But it's something I feel like I'm very passionate about talking about, because it's something that I feel like there's the biggest pitfall when it comes to people and their health in general is nutrition, and especially in Louisiana in general. It's something that's rampant when it comes to nutrition, and there's so much crap out there and so much social media and magazines that feed you so many lies because they're looking for the quick buck, and there's a false sense of what's good progress. And so hopefully that maybe cleared up some things for some people.
Yeah, hopefully it can change some perspectives a little bit.
Hopefully.
We did promise the listeners to answer some questions.
Okay.
And I do have some questions. I think we got a little bit of time for it too.
All right.
Let me find it real quick. But someone asked, how many cheat meals is too many in a week? So what would you say is that, like, still along that, or 80-20, not 90-20, 80-20. So
first off, you have to kind of divulge into like what's a cheat meal, right?
Yeah, where are your borders?
Like, where are your borders at when it comes to a cheat meal? So,
is it 6 hours long?
Well, so it'd be like a cheat day. Like, do cheat meals have a time and place? Sure, we're not going to dive into that rabbit hole. So what's too many? It is when you spill over the amount of calories you need to take in a week's period. So what I mean by that is...
do your math for a week.
So let's go back to the 2,000 calorie marker. Okay, so that's a simple one to use. Let's say for you to lose some weight, currently right now, you need to take in 2,000 calories.
It's 14,000 a week.
Okay, so it's 14,000 in a week. All right, so if I creep over that 14,000, then I've gone over. Right?
You've done too much. You've gone too far.
I've gone too much.
Yeah.
If I can, does that mean 6 cheat meals? Does that mean 1 cheat meal? Doesn't matter.
But just keep in mind that macro calorie picture.
There is no such thing as you could have too many cheat meals and that's what throws you over, but that could be done in one.
But that's not the factor.
That could be done in one meal, right?
The number isn't the factor. What they give,
it's
what they
not,
contribute
it's not so
to
much like the volume of cheat meals. It's the amount of volume of overall calories you consumed average in a week's time. Because you can 2,000. Let's say it's only 1 cheat meal, right? And you want 2,000 calories Monday through Saturday, and Sunday is going to be your cheat meal day or cheat meal session. and all of a sudden now that number jumps up to like 10,000 magically, right?
Yeah.
Now that'd be hard to do, but let's say it's 10,000 calories, and
Similar.
all of a sudden that average jumps way up, right? Then that was too much, even though it was one meal. Now it
Mhm.
could be 3 meals, and maybe your cheat meal only now bumps you up another, 600 calories overall, but you're still under that 14,000 frame or 14,000 even, then you're good.
Yeah,
Right?
sure. All right, yeah. So macro calorie counting there too, not
So
just day to day.
that's not a straightforward answer. Like it's 1, 2, 3, or 4.
I like that though, because then
But
it's
I think that's
measurable.
also a different way to think about it. It's like it could be 1, it could be 7. It just depends on is that going to bump you over too much?
Yeah, whichever one's the one.
Yep.
Make sure it's quick. The other one, one of the other ones was, what is a good thing to eat before you work out? I know that's not towards the mentality of it, but I'm sure a lot of people would like to know.
So first off, it depends on when you're working out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big factor. So if I'm working out at 4:45, I'm not going to wake up at 2 in the morning to eat breakfast, right?
Yeah.
So that's a factor as what time of day that you're going to eat, and also, how far out are you going to eat from your training session? So we kind of break this down in a couple different ways. So let's say we're working out first thing in the morning, I probably wouldn't recommend that you eat anything if you're going to work out at 4:45, just because of the fact that you're not going to wake up any earlier than you need to get there and have the time for the food to digest to work out.
Yeah, that's still going to be in you.
Yeah, so the night before is very important because that's what your body
prepare the night before.
So your body gets fueled off carbohydrates. Okay, so anything that basically once we're kind of getting ready to eat before we work out, the time frame needs to be roughly about 2 hours. That gives you an opportunity for your food to kind of digest through your system and get the blood away from your digestive system.
Yeah.
So you need to have a meal that's lower in, pretty much zero in fat in a sense. We can have a slight amount of fat, but low in fat, carbohydrates and protein are your best friends pre and post workout. Ideally somewhere about, I'd say the earliest you probably go is maybe about an hour. That's maybe pushing it. 2 hours is a little bit more of a better time frame. And everybody's a little different as well. I mean, you have to do that and you kind of experiment with your own frame because some people can eat a little bit closer and they feel okay, and some people have to feel maybe eat 3 or 4 hours away from the training session.
Like really far.
Usually a good mean is about 2 hours, and that should give you an opportunity to have that food digested and have those carbohydrates go up, perform, and do the workout as you will.
Yeah, I have to do that higher carb thing. If I do any fast in there, it's still in my belly pretty much.
Because the fats are going to take longer to digest and things like that. So even if you're going to take in protein as well, just make sure it's a lean meat, like a chicken or a whitefish or a shrimp.
Kind of gets in you quick.
And so it's not crazy heavy on you. So you don't want to eat like red meats or orange fish.
Yeah, no steak and
bacon or
steak and crab or something.
Yeah. So
last one is, does Cody Spell eat sweets?
all the time.
All the time?
All the time.
You do that 90-10?
Yeah. And the thing is, another thing is, I think sometimes, whether it be with me or Lacey or whoever, I think people think like, oh, you're just
you're in prison.
You have like this laser focus, and you're so disciplined and things like that. And like, I mean, is that a factor? Sure. Like, you do have to be disciplined. You do have to be consistent. And me and Lacey will talk about this all the time too. Is it's if you're, let's say you're at a gathering and you're eating and somebody's like, oh man, I wish I could eat that and look like you or whatever it may be, and it's like, okay, well that's one meal out of like 40 meals this week.
Yeah.
You're looking at a very small glimpse into what I'm eating for the week, and it goes back to that 80-90 rule. Yes, naturally, because growing up, I didn't eat fruits and vegetables and things like that. I ate ice cream, and I ate spaghetti all the time. I ate cereal and Pop-Tarts, and that's how I grew up, and that's how I grew up. I wasn't you probably put something like chicken and rice in front of me, and I'm like, what the hell are you giving me? And, it was something that I had to learn and learn to appreciate over time. And that piece is still with me, that I still enjoy to have sweets. And so, every single night I give myself that opportunity to eat something sweet, whether it be, a cookie or whatever it may be. Like currently, I try to make it a little bit more of a healthier option here lately. I'll usually do almond butter and honey. It has that sweet taste to it, because I do have a sweet tooth naturally. So that's kind of my go-to here as of late. And I mean, I have a sweet tooth, so definitely divulge in those things. And then I still every Sunday go to my mom's house and we eat lunch with her, and it's whatever she cooks, whatever I eat.
Wholesome food.
And it's just
Dude,
people get so zoned in on like, all these other different factors. Like, what do you consistently do all week long? It's not the 1 or 2 meals.
Mhm.
It's what you do all week.
All the time.
All week.
I'm normally real low on my carbs and protein. Like towards the end of the day, like fats are easy, but I've been taking snack packs and putting protein powder in it.
Okay. Hey.
It's probably like twice a week.
It
I do
helps.
that.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm way under on carbs, and that's pretty much all it is.
Yeah.
Like sugar.
Yeah, it's not
But
the most.
then-
I mean, it's not the most ideal situation, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah, it's better than nothing, and it tastes pretty good.
Yeah, because I had this conversation with somebody today. We were talking about her getting more protein in, and she's like, "Well, I really don't want to do protein powders, because I want to do more, but I have a hard time getting whole food options in." I'm like, "Well, protein powders are better than nothing at all, right?
Yeah.
It's like, don't worry about the best case solution because that just is not happening.
Sometimes it ain't gonna happen.
This is not going to happen, but it's better than no solution. Like the bad solution is like just maybe find somewhere in between that's
Yeah.
the best.
A good compromise.
And maybe try to work your way to the better solution.
Yeah.
At that period of time.
And just because it won't happen this week for this meal doesn't mean that eventually you won't get there.
Yeah.
Like just make sure you get as good as you can right now.
It's like small little baby steps.
Well, we hope y'all have enjoyed this little jam on nutrition. I'm sure we're going to have many, many more. We didn't delve too deep.
The
So
nutrition realm, but
Yeah.
that was on purpose.
that's on purpose. Yeah, we'll probably dive deeper in various other times. Cody and I will be up in here at least every other podcast. So stay tuned for the next podcast coming up. It's going to be our mystery September athlete of the
September.
month. So stay tuned to figure out who that is. Also, I guess we can announce some stuff. So t-shirts are in. If you order them, you can pick them up.
Somewhat in, but they'll be in by the time you probably listen to this. They'll probably be in by then.
Yeah. We also have that Nutrition 101 course.
Yep.
So not only did we talk about nutrition, but there's about to be a course that you can sign up for to learn even more stuff. So if you like what you
We'll
heard
dive
here,
in more into more actual details of nutrition.
yeah, they're going to get you right. So make sure you sign up for that if you want to get your nutrition tight before the holidays show up.
Yep.
Other than that, anything you want to add?
That's it.
All right.
All right, brother.
Thank y'all. All right, guys. We hope you enjoyed that conversation. I know we really enjoyed that conversation. If you have any further nutrition questions, please feel free to comment below or shoot us a direct message or maybe come in and see us. We hope we covered as much as we could and got some good information out there about nutrition. So tune in for next Hurricane podcast, which is going to be our September athlete of the month. So stay tuned to figure out who the September athlete, Mr. or Mrs. September might be. We'll have their little highlight coming out and their podcast coming out in a couple weeks. So stay tuned, subscribe, like, follow, comment, all of that good stuff. Y'all have a good day.